A technical problem? What? Oh no, they want to kick Myron out. Sorry, Myron.
Remove them and maybe you can bring them back.
Myron, can you hear me? You might need to rejoin the meeting. Oh, I think that Nathan is taking over. He took over.
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here.
Yes. Love the newspapers.
They're awesome. They're great.
Internet. Okay, let's see, hopefully. Okay, looks like it. Recording, streaming it.
Okay, welcome everyone to the September 23rd board meeting. We'll start by attending the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we got pretty big issue tonight, I believe. A lot of policies that we have to approve. Yeah, Bill's gone today. He's not feeling well, so I'm going to leave the meeting today. Get started with approval of the meeting minutes of our regular meeting of September 9th. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of September 9th. Second.
Thanks, Kevin. Any comments or questions? Changes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the approval of the meeting minutes of September 9th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we have adopt the agenda. We do have one change down in new business on number 6. That policy is actually down in old business, the 5012. I think on the agenda it reads 5021 down in the old business, but it is actually 5012.
Yeah.
So that's the only change to the agenda. Online, we changed it online, right?
Yeah.
So just so you know on that, that's the only change on the agenda. So do I have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other questions besides the change?
Ron, I was also going to tell you that it says Tuesday, September the 23rd, so you're not in the twilight zone.
Yeah.
It is Monday, September the 23rd.
We'll change that too.
I was hoping.
Okay. Corrected there all the corrections. All in favor of adopting that agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Any public comments and questions? And do we have anything on the sign up sheet? I can't see
Nope.
it. Nope. Okay, real good. We'll move on from there. And why we're here today is the Forest Elementary School, and Sarah's going to do a spotlight on success.
Perfect.
Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Would you take one and the school board members will need one.
Oh, she's going to just do something.
You could do something. Yes. So thank you guys for being here. I was telling you before we got started, the tables are brand new and they are lovely. We have purple chairs coming soon that are going to be a little more kid friendly. These ones tip back, and especially the little teeny tiny ones can't even put their feet on the ground, and then they tip back. And so we're excited about the chairs. Would you do me a favor and please write your name on the sticky note? And in honor of being in the elementary school library, I would also like you to write your favorite childhood book. What was your favorite book when you were a kid? I don't need them until the end to ponder on that, but I do want them for something that's coming up later in the year. But think on that. So I am merging my spotlight on success and kind of my school improvement plan together and giving you a snapshot of both of those. So the mission at Forks Elementary School is to work with families to create a safe and nurturing environment that maximizes the potential for academic, social, emotional, and physical development in all children. I really believe that if you want your mission to be something that you follow, it's got to be present in everything. And so I really am intentional. I've got it posted on my wall in my office. It's on all of my agendas, and everything that we're doing ties back to this. I told my staff at the beginning of the year that our mascot is a raindrop, and can't really do a lot with a raindrop as far as like beamy stuff. That's not. So we're making a ripple. I want everything we do to make a ripple and that impact. And it just takes everything we do, positive or negative, makes a ripple. So let's be intentional about doing the positive stuff. I'll change the slide. So here are our students. We've got 412 kids. TK's got 16 kids. Our ECAP's at 39. And then the rest of the student body wraps up to 412. We've got our demographics of our students it's really changed since I was in the district. So we have 45% of our students identify as white, 37% of our students are Hispanic. We've got a smattering of Native Americans at 5%, a few that identify as Black or African American. We've got one Pacific Islander representing and 42 multiracial kids. And of our student body, 84 of our students have been identified as multilingual, and 25 of those are in our kindergarten. So we have a very large group of MLL students in our kindergarten being served who have been identified. We also have 8 Native American students and 48 students who have IEPs. And the reason I bring this information up is because it kind of plays into the work that we're doing with kids. So our iReady results last year. So the end of the year results showed that only 54 of our 77 kids in kindergarten were at or above grade level. Only 19 of our 56 first graders, 53 of our 80, 26 of our 62 third graders, and 36 of our 63 fourth graders were identified as being on or above grade level in the iReady reading. That's a lot of kids not meeting standard. And iReady is an indicator of how students will do on the SBA, but we all know that the SBA is a higher stakes test for kids. And so you can see that that's reflected in those results, that only 11 of our 59 students passed or exceeded the reading met standard in reading, and only 40 of our 63 students met in fourth grade. That means there are a lot of kids that didn't meet the grade levels. And then in math, the numbers are very similar. 54 of our 77 in kindergarten, 19 of our 56 in first grade, 42 of our 80 in second grade, 26 of our 62 in third grade, 36 of our 63 in fourth grade. So almost half of our kids are not meeting standard, according to those diagnostics and more. And then again, the higher stakes in math, only 19 of our 60, and then 24 of our 63. So we are currently working on our diagnostics right now, and the data is kind of reading the same. But what's encouraging is the number of kids that we have in that bubble zone that are that one grade level below. Like, and that's that low hanging fruit that educators talk about. Like, these are the kids that we're hoping we will be able to scoop up and move up. We have been we met with the PLC, Breeze, on our PLC work. I'm trying to blank on it, but, and she talked about how you can't get all the students until you get more students. And so our goal is to start getting more students, right? We can't get everybody until we start getting more. So with that in mind, our Smarty goals are going to be based on this 2020 data. I want to give a huge shout out to my BLT team from last year. They did the majority of the creation of this. I sat down with them and made sure that it met all the criteria and stuff, but they were the ones that really said, this is what our school needs. And jumping in, I'm going to trust them that they did a lot of hard work on this, and they definitely know our kids and what they need. So I was really pleased to be handed the plan that they started with. So our Smarty Goal 1,
Question.
yeah.
So we keep, every year it seems like going for this 20%.
Yeah.
It's just like, why don't we say we want to go 50 or 60%, you know? And if you end up at 20%, well, you gain something, but it just seems like it's a low bar, 20%.
So, well, okay. So if I've got this chunk of kids who are low hanging here that I want to bring up to proficiency. The hope is that everybody's moving up the scale. But if I've got kids who are 3 or more grades below, I want to move them up the trajectory before they meet. Like, it's an uphill climb. So my hope is that eventually they'll all be up here. But I really think that, I mean, if somebody's 3 grades below, it's a proficient teacher can make a year plus growth in a year. That's a really heavy load for a teacher to do in 1 year with a student. And my philosophy is I want kids growing as best as they can. And if we can move 20% of the kids up, all the kids up 20%, those low hanging fruit are going to hit that proficiency. And next year we'll continue with that.
Not to derail Sarah,
Yeah.
but we're going to talk a little bit about our professional learning communities and focusing on instruction this year, and the training that the administrators have been in our first session with the teachers, and really focusing on the essential standards. And that's like a laser-like focus of where we need to be with each grade level, so that we are repeating where we don't push the kids up. But one of the things we learned, which was an aha for me, when you learn your data and you put a 20% mark on it, it doesn't mean as much as if you put, these are how many kids we're going to get.
Yeah.
There's a difference between putting the faces of the kids, and I think that there's a slide in our presentation that Kirsten put together where when you say in the kindergarten class, or let's say in the 3rd grade class, instead of 20%, we want to get 30 more kids over the mark, because we know they're in that, what Sarah talked about, that range of it being a possible goal. And so we always struggle with what's reasonable, what's measurable that we can achieve, versus what's so high that we get frustrated if we're not zeroed in on the target. I think we're going to see huge gains in these years when we focus on those essential components that each teacher needs to teach. And then putting the number of kids, we're not there yet, but putting the number of the kids that we need.
Yeah. And that was why I put them at the beginning of the slide with the numbers that had been passed. Like 19 out of 62 is pretty sad. It's disappointing. It hurts. So our Smarty Goal 1 is continue the delivery of MTSS systems across our FES campus to support and improve student academic success and outcomes, as well as positive student behavior and social emotional wellness, showing an annual improvement of 20% as measured by the iReady assessments in both math and reading, a decrease in the number of students scoring at some or high risk by 50% as measured by the SABRS, and a decrease in major office referrals by 20% as measured by Skyward. So we're working on our SABRS data. We're going to start that later this week. And that is shows kids' social emotional status and kind of how they're feeling about school, and assesses whether they might be at risk in areas if they're really, down, or if they're having big behaviors. It kind of helps us laser in so we can focus better on those in our small groups and intentional SEL support that we give to kids. So our goal is that we'll reduce the number of kids needing tier 2 and 3 services in academic behavior and SEL support, to maximize that potential, going back to our mission of kids maximizing their potential for success. We are focusing on PBIS. We've had some really intentional reestablishment of building-wide staff and student expectations, behavior expectations. We've narrowed our high 5s down to big 3 expectations, knowing that if you want kids to be successful at the expectations, they need to know what they are, and kids should be able to name what the expectations are. And 5 for a little tiny person is a lot to remember. So all of our behavior-wide expectations are wrapped around being respectful, being safe, and being responsible. Teachers taught those in classes. We did boot camp around the campus. Allison has done an amazing job of taking the lead on that. Smarty Goal 2, the implementation of K-4 reading and writing curriculum to increase our phonics and literacy for all 4 school students, again showing that 20% is measured by the iReady reading assessments. Last year we adopted a magnetic reading program, a carousel of ideas and frames for fluency for our MLL students, and then also Wilson phonics instruction, and Haggerty. And my understanding is that our staff is comfortable moving. They're doing these things, but more training is always helpful. So we have some intensive training budgeted from last year to support with the Wilson phonics instruction, which is that foundational piece of reading. And so I'm really excited about it. I've got virtual training for all the teachers, and then a person's going to come in and do a three cycle phase with all the teachers, where they come in, they model and debrief, they come in and they watch the teacher teach and debrief, and they come in and they do the we do and debrief. So I'm really excited about that cycle for our teachers to be able to see it modeled, practice it, and then get some feedback on how to best provide that instruction for their students. And then Smarty Goal 3, as I shared in my first slide, we have a large MLL population, and those kids have an extra layer of needs. They've got that barrier of that second language, and so we want to increase their academic success by showing an annual improvement of the 20% as measured by the iReady reading and math assessments. And we've got 2 new MLL pairs this year who are pushing into classrooms to support, which is which is an improvement over last year. Last year we had Kate Snow in our building. This year she's got 2 pairs, and they're doing great things. They're in classrooms using great strategies to help kids learn. And they meet weekly with grade level teams to assess where the kids are at, so they can make sure that they're providing the right support. Sandra Velasquez is pulling some of those 25 kindergartners. She's pulling those students into small Spanish language arts classes, so they're getting the core instruction in their own language. So they're getting access to the language arts instruction in their own language and bringing it back to their class. So they're not missing out on that component because of the language barrier. And so then just beyond what is actually named in the school improvement plan, again, Diana kind of talked about it, are really lasering in on that that tier 1 core instruction of the essential standards is going to be really my drive for my building. And I'm so excited that that's the work that we're going to be doing with our PLCs too, because I really do think that has the potential to make a huge impact on students. PBIS is everywhere, and we're continuing to foster and support that.
Give them the definition of PBIS, positive behavior intervention.
Yes, positive behavior intervention supports. And so just focusing on the positive and the expectations and building kids up and showing them how to do the things that we want them to do and celebrating when they do the things that we want them to do. And our PTO, I've got an amazing PTO who funds our PBIS store closet for classroom teachers to come and collect things to help incentivize kids. Character Strong, our teachers teach Character Strong weekly. Our first pedal jumper assembly is on Friday. Just a little plug. Our character trait of the month is responsibility. So all the teachers have nominated students who exemplify responsibility, and they'll be celebrated at our assembly. I really feel that building the culture and climate at the staff level is also really important. If you want kids to be here, they need to know that the staff wants to be here. So I'm spending some intentional time on that. And then consistent communication with families. I believe that all parents are doing the best they can to work with us, and I want to give them the opportunity to partner with us as much as possible. Any questions or comments?
How's your assembly?
I am splitting the assembly to be an ECAP to first grade and then a second to fourth grade. So my ECAP assembly will be from 155 to 225, and my second through fourth will be 235 to 305. And the reason I decided to split it was because an hour long for teeny tinies is a really long time. They get really wiggly. So I thought if I break it apart, then they might not have to sit so long. And then I also wanted to talk to the students about what their goals are for the year. And what I found fascinating, these were totally unprompted. I asked them some simple questions. And what you'll find when you watch this is that our students' goals for the year and what they are hopeful that our goals are for the year really align with what the teachers thought.
Access it another way. It's not letting me play it.
It's not letting you play it.
No. But let me try to go through another way.
There's a cute little redhead up there, sir.
I thought I recognized her.
You do. It's okay. Do you want me to share the link with you and you can
Yes. Yeah, that might work.
Oh, Kevin's got it.
Yeah.
It's really cute. You guys can love it.
Did you email it to her?
I did.
You did. Okay.
Good morning, Forks Elementary School. This is your principal. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
So, what do you like best about Forks Elementary School?
We have a new principal.
Thank you.
That we get to learn stuff.
You get to learn stuff? Cool. I love that most too.
Going on the field trips,
Going on field trips? Where have you gone on field trips?
to the fire truck thing. into a water bottle.
That's right. I remember that.
The thing that I most like about elementary school is when you go to classes, you get to learn different experiments and you get to learn math. And my second one is specialist because sometimes you can do science and you can learn about a lot of things.
It sounds like you love coming to school.
Math.
Math. What do you love about math?
Easy.
It's easy for you.
Kind of
Huh?
not.
Kind of easy for you. Math was never easy for me. It was the subject that I struggled at.
To be nice.
To be nicer. That's always a goal of mine too.
My dibble.
Your what?
My dibbles.
Your DIBEL score, so your reading fluency. I love that. Okay. Is there?
Doing math.
You want to learn how to do math better? Me too. Me too, Kian.
What do you want to get better at this year?
Math and reading.
Math and reading? Oh my gosh. I love that. This year.
Reading better.
Reading better? Yeah, I like that. I love reading.
To be nice to people.
To be nice to people. What do you think needs to happen to make that happen?
Like don't say like bad words or something.
Don't say bad words or something. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Thank you. And it's okay if you don't know. If you don't know, say, I don't know. You don't know? Okay.
Is it? I loved what you just said. You said getting.
Try to get me like way better at math.
Get you better at math so you're ready for 5th grade? Perfect. I love it.
Being silent in the halls because in 4th grade they're learning more because we need to be quiet so they can listen to their teacher, then they can get distracted.
You're right. So you think that we need to work on making sure that people follow the expectations so everybody can learn? Okay. Is there anything else that you want me to know? Okay. Thanks so much.
Like the whole school to get better on reading and stuff. And
So-
like on their diagnostics.
Oh my gosh. So are you talking about the school goal? You would like the school to, do you think the school goal should be for everybody to get better at reading?
And their diagnostics. They could like before bed they could read to their parents and stuff.
Do you read at night?
No, but I try to read when I
I
can.
love
Because
to
I
read.
have like football practices
Got a
and
lot of
stuff.
things. You got a lot of things
And
going on.
games.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, sir. Is there anything else that I should know?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Check it. Yo, I woke up this morning with a dream to change the world. Just wanna bring a smile to every boy and every girl. Can't do it by myself, I'm my own and all alone. The world needs changing now, so let's all get in the zone. Every woman, every man, come and join me, lend a hand. It's time to step it up and lead our children to the promised land. The golden age of unity, of freedom and equality. Peace on earth is possible, just need a new mentality. Open up your heart and open up your mind. Open up your spirit and guess what you will find. Instead of us versus them, always focused on the enemy. You'll see that your enemy is just like you and me. The world is one country and mankind is citizens. Time to come together, yo, all 7 billion. Turn war into peace, turn hate into love. Turn your frown into a smile, go give somebody a hug. I can, you can. We can change the world. I can, you can. We can change the world. I can, you can. We can change the world. I can, you can. We can change the world. Open up your hearts and mind and face reality. 'Cause there is some good within you, called peace and harmony. Look inside yourself. So see me as your brother. See me as your brother. Or your sister. I'll move your mountain and you move my mountain. 'Cause a journey of 1,000 miles, biggest with a step. Yeah. Africa no says one hand can tie it all. Let's unite. change the world. I can, you can. We can change the world. So do unto others as you have done to you. Cause change in the world starts with the golden rule. We gotta celebrate diversity and show love universally. Cause everyone on earth is part of one community. Black, white, red, tan, rich, poor, woman.
We are safe, we are responsible, we are respectful, we are puddle jumpers. Have a great day.
Judge for the language that you spoke. What kind of feelings do you think it would evoke to people down because of your race or face religious persecution? Time to rid the world of prejudice and start a revolution, talking no more hunger and no more pain, no more violence.
Thank you. That was fun.
And I forgot to put Kirsten's name on there. Kirsten's the one that put together the kindergarten slideshow piece of it. So, okay, that's what I got.
Thank you, Sarah.
I like your walk.
Elena got 2 of these because Brenda had one and she accidentally ordered 2 of them, so she gave me one. So now all of your admin team has these walking desks.
Awesome.
Great, well, thank you. Okay, let's go down to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Oh, I had one on the bills there.
Okay,
I saw the risk management went up. Yeah, I guess 364. This time last year was at 344 or something. So, but that's a biannual bill.
That's half of the year. And so a portion of this is, and they do it by FTE count. So Insight School Washington has a percentage, I think 3/4 of the percentage. And that is based on the last 5 years of claims. And so when we looked at our claims compared to other school districts, our percentage of increase was relatively low. Some school districts saw a 50% increase based on what their actual claims would be. I think ours was at 10 or 14%. It was pretty low compared to some of the other school districts, which is good news. And that means we're working with staff to identify areas of risk, and they're getting their compliance training, and they're working hard to make sure that they understand rules, regulations, and what we should be doing for the safety of our students.
anybody
Good
else?
question, though.
Okay, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Let's see, we're down to reports, leadership team. Professional learning team.
So I was going to share with you kind of the overview of what we did in our district-wide training on Wednesday. Again, with our focus being on Tier 1 instruction and really getting a laser-like focus on what our essential learning targets are in each year and building on those. And so I just want to, and we're not going to go through every single screen, but I want you to have an understanding of what it is, because in high-performing schools who implement this national model, we are a group of the second national cohort. There are 3 other Washington schools in the cohort, one from Colorado, one from New York, or 2 from New York, I think. There's one other school district I can't remember. But we're assigned a coach, and there's a 3-year implementation plan. And so our coach, I'm going to get into this in a minute, is from Wyoming, where she was in a community quite like Forks, who was the principal of the middle and the high school. And their scores look like ours. We've already met with her. They look quite like ours do, hovering around 35. Of course, there are pockets where there's better performance, but usually performance standards by the end of the year in math and reading at 35%. And within 3 years, if you follow this research-based model, You have a very top-down type of what they have, what our staff were expecting of them, and that includes that you understand that, so you can direct me to direct our staff. And then we have the loose, what you call, you lay the foundation, and then the teams get to decide what their essential focuses are and some of the nuances of what they're going to teach, how they're going to teach, how they're going to differentiate, which is really the best strategy, research-based strategy. That's kind of laying the foundation. So in our early release, and Kirsten McCracken is helping. If you've read my Friday memo, we've already been in 2 full days of training, media administration. I had a heart attack when I looked at the amount of training that we have. But on the other hand, in our when we did our building or our retreat, you guys pretty much told me that your dream would be to focus on instruction. That's why we're here, for our kids, to better our kids' learning and reading and math, the essential learning targets. So this is what we're doing. And it really is invigorating. But what we have to be very careful is we don't get ahead of ourselves. There's a very systems approach way over 3 years. And if you do that systems approach, we will see the benefits. At the end of the 3rd year, our coach Bree said that most grade levels were at 80%. Yeah. And so our understanding for the day, we were going to learn, understand what a PLC is, learn about Solution Tree. That's the organization we're working with. In fact, Kevin, I think you were like, why are we going to pay them this much money? Aren't we already in early release working in our PLC? Blah, 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 blah. Good questions. We introduced Breeze, who will come back out and work with us, who's working with us right now. And then one of again, this isn't new stuff, but it really is tying everything together, where we talked about in our instructional framework, working together, the collaboration that needs to happen. And then I highlighted in our district plan on the page that we're going to focus on professional learning community, our tier 1 essential learning targets. And that, go to the next one, that it's also in my goal to work with you, the assistant superintendent, building principals, instructional coach, to complete training in professional learning communities. We also, I put this up here because I also believe that part of our responsibility, and I believe our principals really believe this, and you guys can chime in anytime, is that we help our kids get to the career choice and exposing them how they get to their career. It might be college, it might be military, it might be technical, it might be going into the workforce. They need those reading and math skills. And I put Mrs. Tuttle up there because this was a picture taken when she retired, and all of those staff members were in her classroom, and look how much impact she had on their learning to become what they wanted to become. We have a lot of teachers because of her and a lot of really strong paraeducators. And then I went over my passion, having that laser-like focus on standards, the systems to support our teachers, and then the inspiration for our children to reach their full potential. And then the biggest one is that it really is our moral obligation to make sure that we have a guaranteed and viable curriculum so that our kids, we give them the most they can have. We showed the kinder video too, which we loved. Kirsten, why don't you talk a little bit about last year's early release and what the feedback we got, so they understand why we did this, because we just didn't pull this out of thin air.
So last year, we wanted to continue to schedule job embedded professional development during our early release days for all certificated staff, and including our instructional paraeducators, who, on a side note, they are completing their general para certificate requirements also. We want to include them so they can earn clock hours as well. And we focused all this work on our district's ABC plan. So last year, we were saying we were PLC, but we were more PLC light. And we were still meeting regularly to collaborate, but we noticed that we were a bit disjointed. One Wednesday would be a building day. One Wednesday would be grade level. Another Wednesday would be department. Vertical. And another was vertical. And Every little team's purpose was slightly different. Yes, it was under that umbrella of what the district's ABC plan was, but it was very hard to track our work and stay consistent. That was the biggest takeaway. So if you go to the next slide, I did ask for all staff members to give us some feedback in a survey that was anonymous. And basically, these are the 7 things that they said that they wanted. These were recurring themes that popped up from 86 staff members. They wanted time with their grade and department teams, more guidance and support for aligning those state standards to our curriculum and to our assessments. So that's where we're going to really focus on essential standards, every grade level, all the content areas. They wanted more time to look at assessment data, such as like iReady data or their classroom formative assessment data, so that they could make the best instructional decisions possible. They spoke and said we wanted a common goal and purpose across the district and ECAP up to 12. We wanted to make sure that we're including our SPED teams, our multilingual teams, our instructional paras in this PLC work, because they are a huge component of our success. Staff wanted us to hire some outside folks, so that's why we reached out to Solution Tree. Back in 2010, 2011, a large portion of teachers at that time were being sent to Solution Tree workshops. I was one of them. I got to go to a wonderful conference in Phoenix. Came back with my colleagues so just re-energized and excited to dig into the work. And we saw the proof of Solution Tree that over time with explicit focus on those essentials, we saw improvement in student scores. And then they just wanted our PLC time to be more productive, not just another meeting that we have to go through, not another hoop they have to jump through, but really make it productive and purposeful.
Yeah, one of the things we heard that in some grade levels, and again, this was in pockets, that's when people would schedule their required appointments, and so they weren't necessarily there, and then they really felt like they couldn't collaborate with their teams. And so we wanted to make it a really focused and purposeful, something that we could monitor from the district office, that we could share with you monthly of where we are. But again, we're looking at a 3-year process. So talk about this slide.
So I looked at our SBAC summative data from this last spring, and we tested 437 students, combination grades 3 through 8 and grade 10. Those are the required grade levels. Out of the 437, only 334 were not proficient. So that's 76%. You can see that infographic, 76% out of 100.
And so our goal is to keep this visual chart right in front of you. And then next year, or at the end of the year, we get the scores, we'll add the blue. Because if you can get more, then you'll eventually get all. And so the goal is that your teachers are working more efficiently, they're working more focused, and instead of spinning their wheels and getting frustrated when we're getting the same results every year, you see that gain. It's like getting down your first 10, first and 10 on the football field. Then you get a little momentum going in progress. So these are the visual charts that we're going to kind of focus on to feel good about our work.
And one for ELA. You can see the same situation. Only 68% were proficient. And then in science, again, only 68 of the required grades.
So again, we're working with a national cohort. Go ahead and move. We're going to go through some of these slides. And again, the goal is to implement a guaranteed and viable curriculum, looking at a balanced assessment system so that teachers are using similar assessments across the grade level within the department so that kids see a system and learn that system that's aligned to our state testing. And then looking at our removing the barriers for our level 2 learners who might be one grade level behind, and then looking at our intents for our 2 and 3 year students who are behind. And then once you go to the next. So this year's purpose is focus on learning, and the The loose is that the teachers are going to be able to look at their grade level standards, or let's say if they're in social studies, they'll work as a team at the high school and they'll figure out in which grade, what essential learning standards they want to focus on. The easiest place is at the elementary school. I don't mean to say the easiest, but the nature of the grade levels is they're already working in their grade level teams, and then they will have the choice of what they see as their essentials. And then once kindergarten gets theirs, then they'll be working with the first grade. So the first grade can see, oh, they're already doing that in kindergarten. That's when they're really focusing. So then we need to take that to the next level in the first grade, where you've got your first grade level team and then you work through the vertical team. But again, establishing what it is, what protocols we're going to use, how we're going to document what essential learning targets we're going to do at each grade level, and we'll have a system there. So then the other beauty is that if you have a new third grade teacher coming in, she can, or he can go directly to the Google platform, pull up the essential learning targets, and we can put all of our curriculum materials in there. So they've got a bank. They're not starting from scratch. If they're a singleton, like a sixth grade math teacher in the middle school, that information is going to be there so they can access it from day one. So this next slide is really important. You can see what's in the red in year one is what we're going to be focusing on. So we're going to again, we're looking at a 3-year progress. So in year one, we're going to be looking at determining our essential standards at each grade level, and then aligning the teaching learning targets to those, starting to develop our proficiency scales, and then pacing a unit planet. So basically, our teachers will be planning out the entire year. We have not worked, I can already see teachers going, how's this going to work? We take one bite out of the elephant at a time. And so we're not there yet, but we will begin working on this in year one. And then you can see in year two, you start focusing on the assessment, and then what are those additional time and support needed. And then year three, your grading and reporting and those extensions as well. So I'm going to stop right here because we can go on. More was just the buy-in for the teachers, showing the research-based practices. But part of what I wanted to share with you tonight, if you look in front of you, you have this beautiful color-coordinated sheet that Kirsten McCracken put together. And you can see we've already done, if you look in the month of September where it says 9/12 and 9/13, all of our workshops are virtual. So we don't have to drive to Seattle to do them in person. And so we've already done 2. We're doing one more on Friday. And then you can see in October where it says on 10/24 from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. there's a school board session number 1. So I'm requesting that you attend. There's 3 school board work sessions throughout the year. There's one on 10/24. There's one on 1/7 in January, and there's one on March the 4th. And if you can, they're virtual. We could do them together in Kyle's office. Our leadership team decided to do them in person because then we could talk during the times. They put you in a virtual room anyway if you can't be together. But it's really critical that you have the buy-in and you understand what my directives are, because you're directing me and you want me to focus on learning so that we can all be in this together, because it has to be everyone's focus to really do the work right. But if you want to do it in Kyle's office, I can get you nice, good food. And then again, if you have an engagement with work or something where you can't be there, we wouldn't expect for that to happen.
We do record the sessions.
And they record the
and then
sessions.
they'll email them out a couple days
Yeah.
later.
The goal is for you to understand the language so that it becomes a community of learners, that we really understand what is expected of our students, and then we really understand what the data is telling us about our students, so that in the event you need to provide more resources to support the work that's happening, you understand the whys and you understand the needs of our kids. So if we wanted to change the goal from 20% to 80%, then you wouldn't understand what that's going to take from teachers.
We need to attend how many of these?
Just
2 out of the 3?
No, there are 3 different sessions because they'll build your learning. So all 3. And your leadership matters. We're very grateful for it.
Isn't there one on 10-15?
No, that's an implementation workshop. Yeah,
School
just
board ones are like a
they're-
teal blue or a
Yeah,
turquoise
they
blue.
didn't print off too
Oh.
well, yeah. There's one on, and we'll give you October 24th, for example. Kyle and I will be, I'll probably have Kyle come to these with me, but we'll be in Washington DC, and we will join you via virtual. Any questions? I'm excited to do the work, by the way, and I would say that the staff is ready. You heard our kids. This is probably mirrored in all schools. Our kids are hungry to learn. They want to do better. We all want to do better. We all know we can with the right help.
Any other questions? Okay.
Where are they gonna be held at?
We
They're
can,
online.
you can do them virtually, or if you prefer to meet in district office, we can do it in district office together. And we'll have food there.
Oh, yeah.
It would be better, yeah. We found it better to be in person because then we could talk and even sometimes talk over the presentation a little bit. What do you think about that? Yeah.
Okay. Diane, I think you're still up with the financial report.
So we're in the month of August, and our revenues were, we had 10% apportionment for $5.4 million and some odd dollars, and our expenditures were under, so we banked about $621,000. And so you can see for the net cash and investments in the general fund of the county treasurer, we were at $10,657,000 with 21% of our overall budget. And with the chart, you can see where that is. We're just actually a little bit above what we were anticipating. And I think I told you that Jan was very conservative, what she thought we would end with. And so for the commitment to fund balance, we met the 5%. And we are at 15.6% unreserved, undesignated. So if you want to look at the budget status, August budget status report number 2 on the agenda, I'm going to pull that document up. You can see that in the general fund, our revenues, again, this is the last month of the fiscal year, are almost right at 100%. We were at almost at 100% on the mark, and our expenditures were at 97%. So Jan, of course, was again very accurate. That's in the general fund. Click on number 2. And if you scroll down to the second page of the general fund, we had a beginning fund balance of 8.8 million, and we have an ending fund balance at 10.6 million. And there's some accruals, which means that we still have some outstanding bills to pay, but when it's all said and done, Jan said we'll probably be right at about 10.5 million. in our reserve funds, which is a good place to be. One of the other noticings, if you go past associated ASB funds and you go to the debt service fund, I know this is one that is near and dear to our hearts. We budgeted $120,000 worth of state. That's our DNR, our junior taxing district. And we're actually only at 93%. Most years we have doubled, if not tripled. And so we did not have as much of our junior taxing dollars come in within this fiscal year. But in attending our quarterly with the DNR, we will have other sales. It just depends on when they're sold and when the money comes in. So we'll still see that money coming in the debt service fund. And we're actually in good shape. We started at 1.3 million and we're ending at 1.8 million. And we need about a little over $1 million each year to pay our debt. Okay, other than that, we're working on finalizing our capital projects funds, are closing out our bathroom, closing out some of our other smaller capital projects, like our floor, because it was over a certain amount. We're waiting for LNI to clear. We have to make sure the state has to reconcile that we pay Bacon Davis wages on all the projects. And so there's usually 10% that we have to keep out of our projects until they finalize that. And so those will be accruals into the next fiscal year, this current one, unfortunately. But I would say overall, Jan did a great job of monitoring, projecting, as usual, and that we are financially stable, whereas other school districts are having serious funding issues. So we are in a good spot. How many news have you? How many news every day? Can we go into? Yeah. Okay. You want me to go into enrollment then?
Yes.
So this is September. And when we're looking at brick and mortar, we projected 874, and we're actually, for the first month, down 22. We missed it a little bit. If you want to go to the next one. At the elementary, and this is not including our ECAP, where Sarah's numbers were really on target with our ECAP. We are down ECAP. We have 54 seats, and currently we're at 39. And so we don't know if we are missing kids out in the community. I know that they are actively recruiting, or there are just not families coming to Forks because of housing, or we really don't know what's going on. Other than Head Start has started again down at the Tribe, and I don't believe they had a full-time program last year, Head Start. I can't remember. Kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that might be one of the issues.
What's the big difference in first grade and third grade?
Yeah. So yeah, we're short in from kindergartners. Well, I'm going to show you it. Lindsay did a great job of where you can see where they were last year, so I'll show you. But we missed some kids for whatever reason in first grade. We were expecting 82 and they're only 56. But you can see there's the good news is the kindergarten class is back at 80. That's what we're used to in QVSD. And then the other news is still there's a lot of choice for families. I mean, they don't have to go to their local brick and mortar. Middle school, we're really about dead on. Have had a few kids come and go to tribal school, but for the most part, we're really on the mark. And then at the high school, we did account for our running start students. So we were budgeting 225 and we're still down about 11 FTE. And in general, I would say we saw this trend last year, but prior to COVID, we were generally up 10 or more kids the first month, because you generally lose kids after the first month. So we're going to really start to pay attention there. We budgeted 44 for Homeschool Plus. We currently have 43, but I think there's a waiting list. We've really kind of kept our numbers right where we need to. We changed a few things in the model at Homeschool Plus. So there's not as many part-time students in Homeschool Plus, Alti versus Forks High School, really tailoring it to the need of a student. And I think it's actually going to work better for our programs. And so here's the chart. I don't know if you can pull that up on yours to really see the nuances here. But you can follow classes with the color-coded. And again, the place where we're missing the kids is from, if you look at the start of the kindergarten class and then go all the way where they were at the senior year, like starting at 84 in 2012, 2013, and where we're looking in 24, 25 at 52. We know the biggest chunk is the Running Start program and really the competition for Forks High School. You could see it in the parking lot today with the first day of school. But you can see progressively where we're missing students. And then inside, I might let Myron talk about it. I do want to start with, remember last year we had to do a budget extension because Insight grew, had more students. I think 200 more students on the average. So Myron and I worked really closely with the Stride team to really focus in on what we thought the numbers would be. And then I think at the last minute, Jan and I ended up increasing that number from 10 to 15% of an increase because the model with Insight is now they don't just have one enrollment period, they'll take kids consistently throughout the year, right? Did I say that right, Myron?
Yeah, that's correct. We generally, we still have start dates, but we are enrolling all the way through April.
And so where it says actual and budget, you can see some areas are under, but overall, the numbers are higher right now at the beginning of this school year than where we were last year. Is that right, Myron?
Yes.
So anything you want to highlight with?
Can you remind me, is your budget number, is this the 9-month average FTE that's on this chart, or is this the September count?
It's the average. That's what
Right.
we anticipate landing on. So you don't necessarily have to speak to the numbers, but you can see where we're really close. Some areas are higher, like third grade, for whatever reason, we're 9 higher. First grade, we're 9 higher. But my hunch is we're going to see a growth in that. And Myron can probably already say, as of today, we already know we're going to have X amount more kids.
Well, I can tell you that right as of this morning, we have over 500 done, just about 510 kids in the elementary that are approved. That'll be on our October 1 count potentially, and we're still approving, for October 1. So I anticipate we'll get closer to those 9-month average numbers as we continue to enroll.
Yeah. And so for the middle school, really truly 185 kids. That's, I don't know the breakdown of the 500 we spoke of, but I think we're going to get closer to that overall budget as the year progresses.
As of this morning, we're about 600 plus kids in the middle school that we anticipate for October 1 count.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what about high school?
High school right now, we are anticipating about 1,700 for October 1.
Yeah. And that only leaves 400. And again, I just know with traditionally, we're probably we're gonna get there close pretty fast. And so the actual for the month of September is 3,303, and that 1,000 gives us quite a bit of leeway so that hopefully we will not have to do a budget extension like we did last year. And then again, just looking at the national trend and listening to other school districts in the state and the region, everybody's seeing a decrease in their brick and mortar enrollment because they're wanting choice, they're wanting some kind of flexibility. And so I think we'll see some growth.
Okay, thank you. Overall doing well, so that's good. Hey, we have the board member report. I'll start down at Kevin.
With the football game with Fort Hansville, that's all good.
Yeah, good turnout.
So, yeah, a lot of people.
Nice, good. Mike?
A couple of things. First, do we have vape detectors in the bathrooms?
We do.
I saw a thing on TV of districts all over the country spending their, some of their jewels, some of the money on vape detectors. They said it was working good.
I would say we've had ours now since 2020, 2021. And they do and they don't work good. But I have building principals here who can.
Comments?
My favorite was when we had adults in the building and there was something in it and they went off.
Oh.
Cologne sets them off. Yeah.
Just for kids, sends them off.
Is it your cologne? I got one at 7:48 a.m. or 6:16 a.m. So I think there is some movement that sets them off. Sometimes I get them over the weekend, but I also get them during the school day, and we do our best to try to go to where it's located. And we're not searching kids necessarily, but we are doing courtesy calls to families when a student is there and it's gone.
So movement triggers it, or is it?
Yeah,
is it
so
the actual, like
I
the
think
smoking
it's
detector?
so when Lanny uses some chemicals for cleaning, I was always getting it like at 9 p.m. I was getting alerts, and so I asked her. She did. Sure enough, that's about the time when she's cleaning, and so I think some of those kind of things. And then it'll get stuck in the air if they're bathing in there. So if they open a door and it closes, then the alarm like moves the vape, the smoke, whatever it is, around. So then other kids, they're in there like, I believe that just went off. I just closed the door. There's some
Lag time in it, yeah. Depending on where the vape is, close to the vape detector.
You feel like it's decreased at all? They know how to. They know where to hide it, so that but that's why we're not searching, because kids are saying. But we're getting better, like some students are reporting, and so that is actually working better in some ways, where a student will go in and say, you know, anonymous reporting, and will tell us that it's happening.
Good question.
Another one was, I saw on the news where a school district in Houston, Texas got sued by a family. And they lost when they needed their AED. It failed when the student died. So I don't know on ours, is there like a
There's an expiration date and ours are all current.
checklist?
They're all current.
Somebody has to go through every couple of months and check them.
No, I think they last for like a year or two. We've got a system in place and it's Bill's department and he does it. And then the hospital works with us too, where they have extra new ones or whatever that can help assist us with this. But we have a plan. They were all updated last spring, is my understanding. Yeah.
Does everybody know how to use them?
No, but there is at least one person in every location who knows how to use them, and then the directions are right on them.
It talks you through it.
It talks you through it, yeah, yeah. And I think we added one to each side of the stadium. We have one now on both sides of the stadium as well.
Thanks. Janet?
Not really, bathrooms are great, the football game and the soccer game, and always having bathrooms.
Yeah, so there, so the only complaint that I had, that I heard, was the water pressure. So wash your hands. It's like, people were joking when I was in there, we had a big lineup for the water, and they said, well, so is that, I know it's code and everything.
Yeah, it's the
But
code that we had to get in order
I mean,
for
you end up wasting
conservation
more.
of water.
I think you, waste more, because you have to stand there longer and keep pushing it to, so I don't know if that's gonna be fixed. But that was.
Isn't that what we have to go by though?
That's the standard we have to go by. Whatever we purchased is in the code of the city limits, which is the code of the Washington State environmental, whatever. I don't know if there's a workaround or we would want to
We
work
could get
around.
rain buckets up there in your inventory and we could collect it.
It's like it is on all the new washers. If any of you have the new washers, it takes forever. I'm just trying to figure out the efficiency of that. So, but I'll ask Bill again. I don't believe there's a workaround.
Anything else, Hannah?
Carpet looks nice in here. Tables are great. Sweet tables. I was impressed with all the lost and found already.
I don't know how kids have any clothes left.
Right.
I'm sending messages out all the time.
Yeah, and parents need to label. Yeah, that's a lot already.
Always is. I just have one, and that's actually to my board members here, is that, I'd like to consider changing the meetings back to Tuesday. I volunteer for basketball, and our games are all on Mondays, and I'll be missing some of our board meetings throughout the year. Just an idea if we want to go back to it Tuesday, because we always used to do Tuesday, and then I think a couple of years ago we went to Monday. Kevin wanted to go watch soccer matches, but now they're on Monday, I think. So anyway, that's just a suggestion that I would like to go back to do if they want to. And the staff, of course, too, so.
So what I would do then is on the 14th board meeting, I'll bring it as a voting item. And then based on what you would vote, and we would need to change everything, make sure we notify the public. I think there's something we have to do legally. But I'll bring it as a voting item then on the 14th.
Then the calendar will have to change.
Yeah, we can change the calendar.
It's gonna be a lot of work.
That's okay, we can do that.
Okay.
Couldn't watch Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Sure, Ron, that's why you want to change it. You want to watch Monday
I got on my
Night Football.
phone anyway, so. Good, okay, Myron, you're up, Inside School Washington report, or, yeah, you have the floor.
I think we've kind of covered most of it. You know, we're continuing to enroll. We continue to have strong interest in students attending our program. We're doing, but as Diana mentioned earlier, our enrollment is above where we were last year at this point. One clarifying question I had for you really quickly is, what night were you thinking of changing the board meeting to? I couldn't capture that very easily. Tuesday evenings? Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. That helps me. Because I couldn't hear, for whatever reason, it was hard for me to hear the word Tuesday. So thank you so much.
Does that work for you, Myron?
We'll make it work. We're here for you.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to let the board know that Myron lost a staff member to a sudden death, I think last week, but our condolences go out to your teaching staff and your students, Myron.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was, she was an amazing teacher. She's been with us for several years, and she unfortunately passed. So it's, the teachers and the students seem to be doing well. All of our employees have access to an employee assistance program. So we provided that to all of our employees. And then we made sure our counseling team was aware of students that this teacher had so they could help reach out to those students or communicate with those students if necessary. So.
Okay, well, thank you. New business, district ABC plan. We need to get a motion, and we're gonna come into some motions. If any of you want to leave, you can. We got a lot of procedures and motions too. I see we lost one. I should have said that earlier. But feel free
You're welcome to stay.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that on the, in board policy, it states in the Washington Administrative Code that each school will have a school improvement plan that the board will approve in September. And what we used to do is dive deep into all of them, and I think we found ourselves here really, really late in September. So that's why we decided to approve them, have you approve them, know they're gonna be amended throughout the years, the needs of the building leadership team and students. And that's where we did the spotlight on success. So that's kind of the background.
Yeah.
You don't say.
So I'm gonna go through on here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
So our first one on the agenda is the district ABC plan, and I think we all looked at this, like Diana said, is kind of talk about it in our work session. Do you have a motion to approve the district ABC plan?
I'll make the motion to approve the district. I'll second.
Second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the district ABC plan, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next, we have the Forks Elementary School Improvement Plan.
I'll make a motion to the Forks Elementary School Improvement.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Is there any questions or comments on it?
We kind of went over this.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Okay, so all in favor of approving the Forks Elementary School Improvement Plan, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Forks Middle School Improvement Plan, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Forks Middle School.
I'll second. Oh,
Shannon?
on that one.
Okay, those you get, Shannon. Okay, great. Okay, any questions or comments? And we do have our principal in here. That's what you want? Do you like it?
It was, yeah. Yes, I like it. I did make, so we built it as a team, we do get input. And I did make a change when we, brought on solution tree. We focus on identifying essential standards. So that part doesn't look like very organized yet, but as Diana said, it's a work in progress.
Work in progress, documents. Okay, we have a motion and a second, so all in favor of the Forks Middle School Improvement Plan, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, Forks High School Improvement Plan, do I have a motion?
Forks High School Improvement. I'll second.
Any discussions on that or comments? Okay, hearing none.
Oh, go ahead. She likes it.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the Forks High School Improvement Plan, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next one is Inside School of Washington School Improvement Plan. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Inside School of Washington School Improvement Plan.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Second. Okay. Thank you. Any discussion and comments or Myron, questions from Myron or Diana, I guess? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor of approving the Inside School Washington School Improvement Plan, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, number 6 is the one that we commented on at the first in the agenda, moved it down into old business, so we'll be seeing that one here in a little bit. So under old business, our first motion is for board policy 3205, sexual discrimination and sex-based harassment of students prohibited.
So this is our Title IX policy. Every time we get a new president and the policy, the Title IX at the federal level changes. So this is considered the proposed plan for 2020. It took 4 years for it to go under review. It was implemented on August the 1st of 2024. And so any occurrence of sex discrimination prior to August 1st of 2024 goes under the old policy. I also want to say that there was an injunction filed at the Supreme Court level by 2 states, as well as several school districts in other states. We are in Washington State guided to go ahead and adopt the policy and then wait to see what happens at the federal level. But should we get a new complaint, we're to follow the process here. And the biggest changes there are is that it's no longer called sexual harassment of students prohibited, but it's sex discrimination, and it has sex-based harassment with the gender identity being a big part of that. It also changes where the old policy, you had to have a Title IX coordinator, a Title IX decision maker. They had to be 2 different people. So our Title IX coordinator is Kyle Weekly. I was the decision maker if there was a case that was brought toward the district that did not go through the legal process where we had to do it within house. This policy also allows for an informal mediation process where the other policy didn't. But my hunch is that we'll get a new president and then there's going to be another shift and it'll take another 4 years, and we'll just wait and see what happens at the Supreme Court level with the injunction that is currently there. So stay tuned. But everything in red, you can see it just basically changed almost everything. And then I'll tell you that you don't have to approve the procedures, but the 3205 is for students. The 5011 is for staff. They're very similar, but the 5011 doesn't have the procedures. They refer to the student part of the procedures, but you can see there's a 23-page procedure with procedure 1 and then procedure 2. It's just insane for us to keep all of this together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That being said, do I have a motion for policy 3205?
I'd like a motion to accept board policy 3205.
A second. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll call for the vote now. All in favor of board policy 3205?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Next one is board policy 5011, sex discrimination and sex-based harassment of district staff. You want to touch on that a little bit, Diana, or is it basically the same?
Well, it's a portion, but it provides additional protection for pregnant potential employees and then employees that based on gender. And so it is a new policy that we've not had in place. And then again, protects, staff for parent, family, and marital status.
That's the next. This is 5011.
Oh, hang on, I'm so sorry. So the 5011 is for the sex discrimination, sex-based harassment of district staff prohibited.
Yeah.
And it's the the mirrored policy that we have for students. So we have to protect our students, and we also have to protect our staff from sex-based harassment or sex discrimination. But this is staff on staff.
Any other questions or comments on that? Okay, all in favor of approving motion for policy 5011? No, we didn't get a motion. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion for board policy, to approve board policy 5011.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, now I can call for the vote. All in favor of board policy 5011?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we're gonna go down from the one that we carried down from new business. Board policy 5012 for parent, family, and marital status and pregnancy-related conditions of staff. So do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we, policy number 5012.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any questions? Diana kind of talked about it, so, but are there any other discussion or questions?
Not a lot of change on that one.
No, that's because it's a brand new one. And again, it's another component of the Title IX that would protect any staff member who's pregnant so that they can get their family leave, medical act relief if needed. And it also talks about the ability to provide a place for breastfeeding if necessary without discrimination.
We do have a motion and we have a second on that one, so I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving board policy 5012, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we got two more left. Approval of Fork High School Book Club temporarily amended. So, basically with, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I think, I was reading it to see what it was, but for Running Start, I guess that, for the students to be able to still be in the book club, is their amendment to approve that so that they can still be active in the book club. Basically what that, and Diana, go ahead if there's any more to it or.
And my understanding is this is a 1 year, 24-25, so you would look at it annually?
Yeah, and it was so that the amendment is so that they could be officers, but they have to be enrolled in the high school in order to be in at least one class in order to be in a leadership role within the club. And right now we don't have anybody that is in.
Yeah, that happened last year. We did one too, temporarily, one that we did for leadership.
So I told these that this was supposed to be approved at that time, but the wording on it wasn't, that they had to be enrolled in school. So when I read it, I'm like, you didn't amend it to what it needs to be. So I used it, and then they were at summer, and it took them until this amount of time to get it.
Because the kids have to vote on it, right?
Right.
What exactly did they do in the book club?
And talk about books, yeah, right.
You want to join it? Let's join it.
You want to have a Lucy did, I put on walk, she cleaned out books that because she's such a reader, and she like wrapped them all up and she gave them highlighters and stuff, and she just donated it, so that it was really, really cool. And when I walked in it to give the kids packages, their faces just lit up. It was really cool. Really felt good.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the Fork High School Book Club temporarily amendment? And that's a year? Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the book club.
I'll second it.
Any other discussions or questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, approval, call for the bid for approval of the Fork High School Book Club temporarily amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, our last one is the approval of Fork High School Speech and Debate Club, temporary amendment. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the speech and debate. Temporary amendment. I'll second.
Pause.
Get hung up on the last one, huh?
Mike can have that one.
Okay, this same thing.
Will they have debates with other schools?
She's trying to, get
For time into it?
to get them to compete.
They used to do that back in the sixties.
I know, and she taught it at a different school before she got here, so I'm really excited to see what she does. So,
Yeah, hopefully we can see what the schedule is. I'd like to actually see what I think to go to that.
yeah, let's see where she goes.
Good. Okay, so I'll call for a vote on the approval of the Fork High School Speech and Debate Club, temporary amendment. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, that brings us to the end of the meeting for September 23rd. Thanks everyone for coming and having us, hosting us here in the elementary school. It's always nice to come over to look at the schools, so. Yeah. Next meeting will be,
At high school.
okay. Guess we're adjourned.
Remember my book?
Oh, yeah.
I put one that I liked as a kid and one that I liked as a.
Bye, Mike.